welcome everyone to the Port Clinton City Council regular meeting of June 24, 2025 in the Linda Hartlaub Chambers at Port Clinton City Hall. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silent reflection for those protecting and serving our country.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated.
Madam President, if I may. Folks, I just got off the phone with the director of the Ottawa County EMA. The boil alert for the city of Port Clinton only has been lifted as of 5:47 today.
Will the clerk please call the roll?
Beth Gilman.
Present.
Margaret Phillips.
Present.
Richard Morgan.
I'm here.
Avery Robinson. Pat Hovis.
Here.
Jerry Trolley.
Here.
Kathy King.
Here. Thank you, Council. You previously received the June 10, 2025 regular meeting minutes and the June 17, 2025 special meeting minutes. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'm presenting a motion to approve those.
Thank you. Do I have a second? Thank you, Mr. Trolley. Any discussion? We have a motion by Ms. Phillips, seconded by Mr. Trolley to approve the minutes from the regular meeting on June 10, 2025 and June 17, 2025 special meeting minutes. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Motion carries. The minutes are approved. The chair notes that certification has been made regarding compliance with the rules and notifications of this meeting. It's not listed, but we do have a guest presenter tonight. We have Larry Fletcher from the Lake Erie Shores and Islands.
Yes, thank you very much. For Shores and Islands, Ohio,
Okay.
a little rebrand we did a few years ago. Council members, thanks for the opportunity. Just wanted to take this opportunity to provide an update on some legislative issues that we've been following. There have been more legislative issues in this year regarding lodging tax, which is how we're funded primarily than any other time in my almost 20 years of doing this job. The one that was the most concerning to us came up in early April, which had an amendment. It was an amendment to the state budget, SC 0197. This was introduced by Senator Teresa Gavarone at the request of the Erie County Commissioners and the Erie County Treasurer. This was done with no consultation with our organization or, as far as we know, any of the businesses in our region, especially the businesses that generate the lodging tax that this was seeking to change in state law. The original language, which I will say was pulled off the table, but the original language would have allowed a county with a population below 100,000 and annual lodging tax receipts of over $500,000, which fits Erie County, it fits Ottawa County, and 900 counties in Ohio. But again, it was initiated by Erie County. It allows that county to retain up to 2/3 of the lodging tax that currently goes to the Visitors Bureau in that county for other purposes, and those purposes were stated as public safety and security, economic development, and infrastructure projects. These are all things that we would certainly be willing to sit down and talk about, and there have been requests made by commissioners, primarily in Erie County, sometimes in Ottawa County, for use of the lodging tax for other things than our marketing efforts. But this was a departure from that because it was done without any of our knowledge. So there was an immediate reaction from the business community, primarily in Erie County, but certainly regionally, that involved letters and phone calls and emails to Senator Gavarone, to Rep. Swearingen, to other members of House and Senate leadership and House members, to the commissioners, to the treasurer. A petition was circulated that at last count had more than 1,100 signatures that were opposing this action. We had an outpouring of support from the business community because of the investment value of our marketing efforts. A letter went to the senator that was signed by the CEO of Six Flags, the CEO of Kalahari, several smaller hotel operators, small business owners, and that letter basically said, this isn't the way you should do this. You should come and talk to us, and let's see if we can work something out. If you need these funds for other purposes, But we also, and I'm not going to get into the details on this, we also had sufficient data that showed that our efforts helped generate greater amounts of money back to the community, back to the county, than they were actually seeking to get from this 2/3 of the lodging tax. So all of that input, I think, did result in that language being taken off the table, and the current language, which today is the day that the Senate House Conference Committee was supposed to release their budget that will go to the chambers tomorrow to get voted on and then to the governor. And we think that the way this language now states, it authorizes additional purposes for which a CBB in a county with a population of same parameters can use the tax collections to fund public safety and services, economic development projects, or infrastructure projects that impact tourism. The control of that still is retained by the Bureau. We still are not real comfortable with this language, but we can work with it, because what we think will happen, especially in Erie County, there will be a lot of requests. There will be many more requests than we currently get, and we will then be spending a lot of time evaluating all of these requests for things other than our primary purpose, which is marketing. But it's better than it was. This was being fought on a state level from the CBB Association, from the Hotel Association, from the bigger bureaus that were outside of those parameters because of the precedent it sets. But unless the governor decides to strike that out, if that language stays in, then that's what we're working with moving forward. I think my main point in all of that is that we have always been willing to sit down and have these conversations, and that's what happens in Ottawa County. For example, the Ottawa County Commissioners, and we have a commissioner on our board, came to us and said the Ottawa County America 250 Committee has a robust plan for things to promote that event next year. Could you help them out? We had somebody that represented the committee come and present to our board, and this Friday the board is going to meet to review their proposal, and I have a strong feeling that there will be financial support going to that group. This was outside of our normal grant programs. Some of you know about our Destination Development Grant programs, but to put a few numbers on this, in 2024, Destination Development, or actually I have for the full 4 years that we've had this grant program in place, and this is for small businesses, for new marketing efforts, beautification programs and such. So specific to the city of Port Clinton, $83,100 funding 16 projects over the 4 years of this program came out of our budget. In 2024, we provided sponsorship dollars totaling $9,000 that went to assist with special events in Port Clinton, and this year we have $11,000 budgeted for that. As you know, the city has a municipal lodging tax. Our marketing efforts influence visitors coming to the region, and that helps drive the county tax, but it also helps drive the municipal tax. You have these figures, but the more than $330,000 in 2024 came back to the city in municipal lodging tax collection. So, and those same types of statistics are in place across our region, and these are some of the funds that the communities can then use for these other purposes, so we can focus on marketing. The other things that we're following Columbus, some of which we took positions on that could impact what happens in this city. One is a bill, House Bill 161. Now these will go on past the budget cycle. 161 is supported by the Ohio CBB Association, Convention Visitors Bureau Association. That would create short-term rental and hotel parity across the state. Right now, not all counties collect lodging tax on short-term rental, one room or more. They do in Ottawa County and in Erie County. That's through the local code. But across the state, they don't, and none of them collect sales tax. That's what we don't think is equitable with hotels. 5 rooms or more has to put sales tax on it. Under 5 rooms doesn't. Sometimes you could have a four-bedroom bed and breakfast that doesn't have to charge sales tax. 5-bedroom bed and breakfast across the street does. So this would level the playing field. That would generate more revenue for for the county and for the city. And then House Bill 109 and Senate Bill 104, those are companion bills that we oppose. That would prevent a municipality from being able to regulate their own short-term rentals. So if you wanted to say, we think that we have a saturation of them, we want to put some regulations in place, this state law would say you can't do that. And most communities that have short-term rentals in our two-county region have some regulations in place to manage that for all the reasons that we think that's important. So those are the other two main ones that we're following. So with that, that's really what I wanted to present, and just let you know that happy to come and address the council at any point in time. Always here to answer questions. The mayor knows that we talk frequently on different issues, and I just really appreciate the time to address you today. I don't have a specific ask. If I would have come here, a couple of weeks ago or last month, I probably would have asked you to consider a resolution opposing that language, which many municipalities did, and as I said, Ottawa County did. But right now, we're waiting to see what's going to happen in Columbus.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions on that?
The last thing you said there was a bill not allowing communities to regulate short-term rentals. Which bill was that?
It's Senate Bill 104, and then a companion bill, House Bill 109, basically the same language. And this was, ironically, the sponsor of this bill is a gentleman who owns short-term rentals in Portland.
He does.
Now, I don't know if that's why he sponsored the bill, because he does have, his opinion is that a homeowner should be able to do what he or she wishes to do with their home. But and this is, it would seem strange that an organization that received benefit from the short-term rentals, that revenue helps us, would be opposed to that bill. But we think that the local community should be able to control that because there's housing issues, there's safety issues, there's all kinds of things that communities are dealing with, which is why we don't think, and the state doesn't have the contacts or the ability to know what's going on in these little communities. So that one we formally opposed. Our board's opposed. I went down to Columbus and made testimony at the committee hearings in opposition to it.
What do you think the reason, and the same thing with the sales tax, where a hotel charges sales tax and short-term rental doesn't? I mean, I'm on Lawrence. If I charge you $30, I got to charge you 7% sales tax, and I'm not a big business by any means. It seems like the legislature really, really, really wants to get as many short-term rentals as possible. Am I reading that right, and what's the justification for it?
Yeah, I don't know if they necessarily want to get as many as possible. I think it comes from the fact that the legislation, the way that tax is applied is based on the definition of a hotel in the Ohio Revised Code. And the industry has advocated for years and years to change the definition of the hotel to all transient rentals. There was a time when we didn't have transient rentals. We had hotels, we had bed and breakfast, and then short-term rentals came on the scene, and then the Airbnbs and the VRBOs came on the scene, and they have powerful lobbies that are not in favor of any regulation of what they do. So I think, and then sometimes what happens in Columbus is this is interpreted as a new tax, and we don't need any new taxes, but it's not a new tax. It's just applying an existing tax to all of the businesses that operate under that classification of it's a commercial business. It's a short-term rental that is operating just like a hotel, and it can be a competitive advantage for those short-term rentals. I mean, I ran some numbers on some of the very high-priced short-term rentals that we have in this area in the summertime for a weekend, and a person that needs 5 rooms could save $500, $1,000 over going to a hotel. So that's. But I don't know. It seems like it would be an easy one. Just change the definition of hotel.
Makes sense. Thank you.
Does anyone Anyone else on council have any questions for Mr.
I have these that I'll leave on the back table. This has some of the rest of the story, so to speak, that has some of the statistics of some of our major accomplishments from last year, return on investment, our advertising, and all kinds of good stuff. Let me know if you have any questions at any time. Thank you for the time.
Mr. Fletcher?
Yes.
I had to step out for a second to deal with the boil alert, but this proposed legislation does not impact the city's ability or the city's funds collected for bed tax, correct? It's just the county level, but at the same token, we benefit through your marketing.
Oh, the one I first brought
Yes,
up?
yes.
Right, it would
Yeah.
be county, it would
It's just
only be
county.
county lodging tax.
Yeah, but if the money's taken away from the county bed tax, it obviously has a negative impact on our ability to
I
collect.
would say it
Yeah.
would, and then anytime any of these things go through, there's always the potential that it
It trickle
could
down,
move
yeah.
into other areas that have a similar tax in place.
Thank you.
Slippery slope. Thank you.
Thank you for coming, Mr. Fletcher. You're more than welcome to stay.
I'm gonna stay, I wouldn't come in here.
Okay. Thank you.
Part of the whole meeting.
Okay. We'll move on to public comment. And since we have a full house, you can just stand up at your chair that you're at.
Blake Maggi, 714 East 2nd Street. Stand, please. Are you on to speak?
Not yet.
This is where you
during-
speak.
Yeah.
Oh,
public
There's no
comment.
other time.
I thought that's what this was.
No,
It's like a whole different thing.
On the agenda, this public comment is now.
Oh, well then, no.
Okay.
Say that. Sorry.
This is the only time that you can have public comment, just so you know, if you want to speak now. Can you explain it, please?
Yeah, public comment is a time that we set aside. A person can have 5 minutes. Anything you would like to discuss, but when we get onto the ordinances and stuff, there's no public comment at that time. So if there's anything you would like to state, you can state it now.
Oh, good.
Okay. Well, Did you
I
sign?
just have a question. Okay,
Okay,
Can
did
I-
you sign up to speak?
yeah, I
or-
did sign up.
Okay.
But my question, you said the paperwork, we can't comment on that, but we just have 5 minutes to free speak what we want to
You
speak
can
about?
talk about the ordinance, if that's
ordinance?
what you would like to talk about, but when we read the ordinance,
That's when we can talk
there's
about
no,
it.
no, there is no public
No
comment at
public
that
comment
time. Public comment is now. So if you want to discuss anything about the comment, or about the ordinance, or have questions, now would be the
You
time
can't speak.
to ask.
Hold on.
You're passing, sir?
Yes.
Okay. Devin, could you pronounce your last name?
Pinkleton.
Thank you. 908 Ohio Street.
I would like to talk about this, what I've been seeing on Facebook. Why are we moving City Hall to Key Bank? For like, what I'm hearing is like $3 million that's gonna cost us. What is wrong with the City Hall we have? It's very frustrating as me, as growing up as a child, never having anything. And I mean that as, when I was a kid, I used to watch my dad play basketball at Port Clinton for the Parks and Recs. Yes, loved it. I couldn't wait till I grew up to be able to play. Guess what? I grew up, it's gone. Nothing is here for the kids, and excuse my language, but if we want to better the future, we have to better these kids in any way possible. Sports, anything. Why are we doing, what are we doing with Key Bank? What are we doing with Jefferson? I've coached for, Jerry knows, like almost 20 years. I put every effort I can into these kids because I love these kids. And it's not just my own kid. My child is 11. I was coaching 9 years before she even came about because I love kids. I feel like Port Clinton does not care about the kids. Yes, we care about the community. I completely understand that. We care about this, and it's always about me. It's never about we. When can we start acting like we instead of me? And I'm not sure if it's approved or anything. I don't know, but if it is, it's, in my eyes, why are we spending money when we don't need to be? Growing up, the only thing that was built was the skate park, and that was like 20 years ago. And yeah, when we built it, guess what? All the kids were there. I was there. I didn't even skateboard, and I was there because it was somewhere for the kids to be. We want to keep these kids off the streets and out of trouble. How do we do it?
I mean, I'll let the mayor, I mean, we've met, talked about it at a couple meetings, and we had a special meeting, but.
And I'm sorry, but I'm
You're
sick
fine.
of hearing the, we'll talk about it, or we've been
Well,
talking
no,
about
No,
it. It's
the
been
mayor,
like
Mayor
40
Snyder will
years
explain.
of
Yeah,
my
Mayor Snyder will
life.
explain, so, if you would.
Mr. Bingley, when I first chose to, or was considering running for mayor, I asked two groups of people, the then juniors at Port Clinton High School, this was back in 2018, and about 200 adults living in the city of Port Clinton. Gave them a piece of paper with 13 issues facing the city, and I asked them both groups to give me your top 5 list. And although they were in slightly different order, the top 5 were relatively the same, and one of those was downtown revitalization.
And
Now, there are many, many, many different tools associated with downtown revitalization. We got lucky with the district. We had 15 vacant buildings. And now all 15 of those are being rehabbed and so forth. That's creating jobs in our community. We have one of the other ones was helping the city finances. Our newly ordained, if you want to call it, she's been around for 5 years, tax commissioner has done a wonderful job tracking down individuals that haven't been paying taxes. And our city coffers, as Mr. Bulow can acclaim, are in much better shape than they were before. We're in the process of the road constructions. We're in the process of renovating Waterworks Park and all of our parks. We've been working on that for about 1.5 years. There's a splash pad going in very soon. There's playgrounds going in. We're hoping to have pickleball courts here very soon if we can get the funding. But all of those things are to the betterment of the community. Having a strong downtown reflects a strong community.
But we don't even have
when
the parking.
There's plenty. We've had experts look at this, engineers. When City Hall moved to its current location, and that was 20-some years ago, there was a reason, and we can't fault, but you can almost pinpoint to the day that when that happened, that's when downtown started to deteriorate. Yes, there were other factors involved, no doubt about it, there were other factors. But the reason city halls are in a downtown area is for that economic activity. There will be 25 to 30 people in downtown working on a daily basis. There's an estimate that about 50 people a day walk through the door of City Hall. That's an additional 50 people in downtown Port Clinton with the opportunity to go to the shops, go to the restaurants, provide revenue flowing through our businesses, increased economic activity, increased jobs. It also sends a message to the world that downtown Port Clinton is at the top of the mind of the folks in this room. This discussion started just over 1 year ago when the bank at the corner of 2nd and Jefferson went out. I can't think of the name of the bank right now to save my life.
US Bank.
Thank you, US Bank. We lost out on that one. This other one came up. We started talking amongst the city administration, and everyone thought it was a great idea. We went to city council. They thought it was a wonderful idea and voted unanimously to move forward with the purchase. There's going to be some renovations. We knew that going in. Key Bank has a lease until 2029. They're welcome to stay. If they choose to leave once we take possession, that's fine too. But it's all part of the bigger activity. There's a reason communities have town squares with the city hall right in the middle. I've talked to, actually we have all talked to someone from Sandusky who's involved with city government when they move their city hall downtown. I've talked to people from Dublin, Ohio. And the economic impact that it had with the community and the message it sent to the world about their downtown is uncalculable. The fact that the money is available is a testament to Mr. Bulow and his ability to manage the funds, and our tax commissioner and their ability to track down and collect the funds. It's bringing Port Clinton back. It's helping make that happen. I remember the old city hall. My aunt worked down there. It was yes, it was a shame, but understand the economic factors and the rehab of that aging building. It's just the next step in making Port Clinton a better place.
I hope so.
And can I say something? Mr. Pickleton, and I'm sorry you feel that way about the kids. My kids are all older now. You probably know some of them. But the city has been, in my experience, supportive of programs for the kids, which the city doesn't provide things for kids, but we support the Arts Garage, which has programs for kids. The library has free Wi-Fi. The city did stuff with fiber optics that allows them to have Wi-Fi that's accessible and free to everybody in the community. It's not a city project, but it was some of the stuff they did from an infrastructure level that helped that. You know, we've got the fishing at the pier, we've got parks, trails, all these things that money has gone into. That beautiful park at City Park, you know, that was not a city project, but they do help kind of middleman some of those things. The Rotary Skate Park, that was a Rotary project, wasn't a city thing per se, but they did work with them. The Lighthouse, which is great to walk around. You know, my kids, they grew up doing a lot of things outside for free because we're on a very tight budget. You know, we go walk up there, hunt for beach glass. There's some great adventures and things for kids to do, not necessarily, you know, maybe from an organized sports, but the schools have got, and you're very familiar with it, and I appreciate everything you've done for the kids, because it is people like you in the community that does make a difference in that aspect, because that fills that gap for things that city services don't necessarily support or provide and aren't tasked with. But there is quite a few things, you know, the sledding hill, the city guys, you know, they're short-staffed, overworked, and you'll see them out there doing everything from water breaks, but, you know, they're the ones out there mowing when, you know, Taft Hill gets long. And yeah, you know, if they miss a day, people let them know, and I know Tracy gets phone calls, you know, you missed something, yeah, you know, you're sorry, we're fixing the water break. So it does, and I hear there's nothing for the kids, but man, you drive by the parks, there are kids out there every day. And that's one of the reasons I love this city. And yeah, you know, the roads are crap. I joke about it. I live on Taft right now, which is, I'm going to say it, Mayor, you know, my street is a disaster, but I know it's coming. He has got a plan to address it, and I appreciate it. It's building speed bumps, because they fly down that to Taft Hill, and I tell you what, you know, we joke where somebody's going to get hit, and I don't want the speed bumps. I'd like them gone personally, but they are working on it, and they've got a plan to address it. And you'll hear from Mr. Vila later, if you stay through the ordinance, on, you know, it's not costing us for this move, but the benefit, not this year, not next year, but 5 years, 10 years, the long term. And on city council, we're tasked at looking at what the benefit is to the city long after we're gone. You know, the mayor alluded to it, 1996 we moved out, and there are studies that show what happens to a downtown, and we lived it. We were here when we're complaining because the buildings are empty, and now it's like, oh my gosh, there's too many people on Madison Street, you know, open the street up, there's too many people here. We don't want it's not about the tourists, it is about community. But I appreciate it and your frustrations, and you know, you can always come and reach out, and thank you for everything you've done for the kids, because I know your name, you know, and I know the kids, and I appreciate it. Well, I hope they answer some of your concerns.
Madam President. Coach, yeah, you and I go back a lot of years. But Jefferson, you mentioned Jefferson, that's the school property.
I know.
That has nothing to do with the city.
I know.
We would love to have it, but that's talking out of school. But yeah, that's school property. You keep up the good work.
Also, I'd like to add, and yeah, I don't disagree with anything you're saying. Two things, the mayor, I think he kind of glossed over. There is plenty of parking at the Key Bank building. It's got tons of parking, they won't have to park on the street, right? But I understand that question. And he also mentioned the Parks and Recreation project, which is going forward, and it will have splash pads, and we think there's playgrounds and stuff. A lot of those things just for kids. So it's not bleak, I understand your point, but those things are happening, so.
That's good to hear. Right here.
Jake Trent, is that the name?
Yes, ma'am.
708 East 5th.
What's going on? My concern is also with the move. Is it a $3 million project? 'Cause that's the number that is being quoted.
The purchase price is $775, and the initial estimate to rehab the building is anywhere between $1 and $2 million.
Is it getting the police station moved down there?
Yes.
I've been hit by a car coming out through, I was riding a bike, the car came out one of those alleys and spooked you there. We've got a lot of people out there drinking right now. Is that really something we want to mix together, somebody going out of an emergency, possibly? Is that something we've thought about?
I'm sure those issues happen all over the place.
It happen all over the place, but I mean, when you consolidate this all into one area, it makes it more that way. My other question is, how many of our local contractors are using this?
That hasn't been determined yet.
Are we planning on?
If they qualify, absolutely.
What would be the qualifications?
I don't know that at the moment. I'm sorry. Do you have anything beyond that?
Yeah, Mr. Trent, the process, assuming that this financial package tonight is approved, we'll work with an architect who will come up with preliminary plans, needs based on our usage here and the available space at 201 Madison Street in the NWS building. They'll come up with essentially a schematic, and we would issue a request for qualification. So any interested party could competitively bid to win that contract award to do the work
Is there
there.
a prioritization for locals?
There's a scoring process normally, or evaluation process that Mr. Colson's typically involved with competitive bidding for this or anything else, or similar contractual work or
'Cause, I mean,
equipment and such.
It's just my concern, if we're gonna build up our city, I think we should use up.
And we try to do that as much as possible.
I appreciate
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Netfield?
Beverly Muka. Okay, I've got a whole bunch of questions, but I'm just gonna pop right to the mayor. Is that okay with the council?
Yeah, could you stand
Well, no, because I got a bad back and
Oh,
two bad
okay.
knees, okay? So
Okay, that's
you can probably hear me. Okay, so how many buildings are moving to Key Bank? I mean, how many offices here?
Everything from this wall,
So what's that,
South.
the courthouse?
it would be the tax department, water department, cemetery, police, auditor, zoning,
the city offices.
The city
not
offices.
Not the municipal court.
yeah. Not the municipal
Okay,
court.
now this building is owned
This-
by
this- this-
county and
and the city. Correct.
70/30.
Correct.
Right? Okay,
Correct.
this building's paid off, right?
Correct.
So why are we going to, you said it's only gonna cost one million, 2 million maybe? I've heard it's gonna be anywhere from 2.5 to maybe 3.5 million for you guys to do the renovation.
Again, the purchase price is $775, and the initial estimate on rehab is $1 to $2 million.
Well, that's your estimate. Have you guys had inspectors from
Yes.
every up, down, and who did that inspection?
Erie inspecting?
Area inspector?
Yeah.
Okay, so you said you're gonna cram, they got a 4-year lease on a Key Bank, so you're gonna buy them out, or are they gonna stay there?
They have the lease, and they're welcome to stay.
Okay, so when you guys do the move, where's everybody gonna go? Because the elevator don't work.
Yes, it does, ma'am.
Well,
It's been inspected.
Must have just got fixed then, because what's upstairs? Is there anybody renting upstairs?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so you're gonna be putting stuff upstairs, and is the building itself sustainable? No cracks? How's the roof doing? Has everything been checked from top to bottom? And plus you got that big vault in there. Do you plan on moving that vault?
That hasn't been decided yet. But
Yeah,
yes,
well,
the building
that's
has,
gonna
the building has
cost
been
a thing if you move
inspected.
that versus if you leave it. Okay? I just don't think it's a good move to spend this kind of money for something when you've got something that's already paid for. And if you would have seen the postbook page the other day, a lot of people don't agree with this. They just didn't turn up. Now, just to let you in on something, I think I've told you before. I live on Madison Street when Mayor Fritz was mayor. Our roads were crappy. There was a few section of us people that paid to have our road fixed. Out of our own pocket. Not you guys, not the city taxes. We did. Since that time, when Mayor Fritz, don't think how many years ago that was, right? I had to call you to get a pothole filled. So then when the big water part, you guys started updating the roads, then my road finally got fixed. North and south, 2 times of that section that we paid for was redone. So I don't feel my taxpayer dollars go to help me at all. My property tax goes up. And by the way, if I go pay my water bill, I'm not gonna trot down and buy a flower. I'm not gonna trot down and buy a candle. I'm not gonna trot down and have an Irish pub thing. So you know what? It's just not a good move. If you think that's gonna bring in anything, you're go to Vermillion. That's the best example how Port Clinton can be. Not Sandusky. They got bigger population, more tax revenue coming in than what we do. We just don't have the tax revenue, and I just don't think it's a good idea. Tell me the good reason why, other than downtown's gonna be getting some more people coming in. Nobody's gonna go out and eat, I'm telling you.
Ma'am,
They wanna go
to be very
Ala Carte,
honest,
they'll go to Ala Carte anytime they want.
and I probably shouldn't say this, but I am, you're the reason we're moving downtown.
Why?
You just said you're not going to support downtown businesses.
No, I said there's nothing down there like it was back in the day.
Okay.
Bergman's, okay, remember all the dress stores, shoe stores, we have nothing down there. The Yellow Bakery place, they closed up already, but another donut place opened up. So what else is opened up? The old Greens is still empty. What's gonna go in there?
Ma'am, this week, 3
The
new
old-
businesses are
listen,
opening up
listen,
downtown.
And the old city hall that held different offices, the library, fire department, police station, everything, courthouse. That's a big eyesore. Have you guys gotten a hold of the dude that owns that? That's an eyesore. You talk about an eyesore, and wait till it crumbles down and falls on somebody, then you're gonna have a lawsuit. You guys have got some crumbling sidewalks, and what about that sidewalk law? Hey, everybody's gotta fix their sidewalks, we did. Other people didn't fix it. So where's your building inspector, or your people that go out and write codes and all this and cut the lawns, or are you gonna get charged? Fix your sidewalks, or are you gonna make it? You never did. We did ours, nobody else did. So you guys propose stuff, but you don't follow through. And this here is a waste of money. I'm sorry. I'm on a limited income, my property tax went up. And you're just gonna, these bonds, and you say, we're gonna be paying for this. These bonds are not going to cover.
Mr.
We
Mr.
pay-
Velo, if you stay, we'll explain.
Well, he
at
can
that
explain
point
that
when
all
we
he
get
can,
there.
I
So-
looked it up. Bonds are paid by taxpayers.
Well,
Pure
Mr.
and
Velo
simple.
will be able to explain.
Unless you
whatever
guys have got
you're-
some grants that we don't know about, and you haven't released it. That's just like the roads. How's that, all this update on the roads, how's that getting paid for? By us with the water bill, property taxes, how's it getting paid? Grants?
There are about 20 different funding sources on the
Yeah,
project.
right, but taxpayers are paying some of it too. That's the point. We're getting tired of being taxed to death, pretty much. The whole country, we're not the only county that does this. You can smile all you want, it's the truth. People are getting tired of being taxed. And this here is a perfectly good building. I was in the courthouse, I had to go serve on jury duty, but I didn't have to serve, but it's still in good shape, so why the move? You only got how many people in the water department? It's not like you got 50 people working over there.
Well, we're council and that's administration, so.
Well, I don't care. The move is the move.
Okay.
It should be done.
Thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you. Next person? Anybody else?
No, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. We'll move on to executive officers' reports. Council this evening, for first reading, we have ordinance number 19-25. Mr. Velo will discuss that more at his time. It is time sensitive. Council administration has asked to be passed on its second reading. That being said, there will be a special meeting on 6/26 at 6:15 here at Portland City Hall. And if the clerk could post that, it will be just in reference to ordinance 19-25. Also, under business from the floor, there's a new City of Port Clinton public records policy. The change to that is under, let's see, provision 4, letter F. The Governor DeWine passed a House bill on January 2nd, 2025, House Bill 315, that when people request public records of a video or audio, now police agencies, municipalities can charge $75 an hour up to 10 hours of work because there's stuff that has to be redacted per Marcy's Law and other requirements for body cam, cruiser cam, anything like that. And we will need to, council would need to vote on that provision and then vote on the public records. This is a requirement by the state auditor that we have a current and accurate policy. That is all I have this evening. We'll move on to the mayor report.
Thank you, Madam President. Good evening, members of council. I kind of spilled the beans earlier today, but I want to thank everyone for their patience and consideration during the boil alert. Again, as of 5:47 this afternoon, it has been lifted for the city of Port Clinton. Still remains, for those listening in the interweb later today, still remains for the remainder of Ottawa County until further notice. I want to also thank the Ottawa County Family Advocacy Center. Yesterday, today, and then tomorrow, from 10 until 3, they've been having a cooling center offered at their space from 10 until 3. I spoke with Connie Rowe, the administrator of that organization, and she said it's had a pretty steady use. So again, thank them for opening up their doors. Update on the 4th of July. By the way, today is the last day to get your burgers for Booms, so hopefully after this you will go out to a local eatery and get your hamburger to help fund the festivities. Having said that, we've raised enough money for the fireworks, but still go out and get your hamburger. The activities that are going to, and again, the Bucks for Booms places are McCarthy's, Wolfie's, Brick House, a la carte and a la carte after hours. The events that are going to take place on July 4th, Friday, July 4th, a 5K at 9 a.m. sponsored by the PC Women's Club. And this is Sardi there. There is a new route that will be posted, if it hasn't already, on Facebook. Instead of going to starting at Adams Street and going to the east end of town because of the county's water line project on Buckeye and State, still going to start on Adams and kind of go south and to the west end of the community. The Firecracker Cutie Contest, which is going to take place at Trinity United Methodist Church, begins at noon with registration at 11. Registration is also available online to print out the application at the 4th of July Facebook page. You can also, again, show up at 11 and register the day of. Activities then move outdoors, the 1 and 200 block of Adams Street, for the car show that begins 2 to 6. The food truck feast, again, 2 to 6. That will be in the parking lot on the north side of Trinity United Methodist Church. And then inside Trinity United Methodist Church from 2 until 7 is the annual ice cream social sponsored by Ottawa County Senior Resources and Crosser Funeral Home. At 7 o'clock on July 4th, inside Trinity United Methodist Church is the Voices of Freedom concert. Get there early to get a seat. It always fills up. Again, that's under the direction of D. Gregory Scott. Most of us knew him as our high school choir teacher. The family dance party kicks off at 8 o'clock over in Waterworks Park, and that will lead us up to 10 o'clock with the fireworks presented this year, as always, by Pyrotechnico out of Newcastle, Pennsylvania. I want to thank the fire chief and the police chief for 2 events that they are going to participate in. The fire chief, let me back up even farther. Yesterday, the Ottawa County Health Department and others were to have a bicycle tour of Port Clinton. Health awareness, they kind of have been evaluating the area. I was going to be the participant from the city in that. Unfortunately, the weather was so bad, they canceled the event, rescheduled for July 8th. I'm not able to participate, but Chief Gutman is going to participate on behalf of the city in the bicycle tour of the city of Port Clinton, sponsored by the Ottawa County Health Department and others. And then on July 16th, which is Governor Fish Ohio Day, it's well known that my ability to step on a floating boat is not good at all. So the police chief is going to take my place and represent the city while they're out fishing. Would like to commend the auditor and his staff for having to deal with the state audit for the past several weeks, up to a month, if not longer. The preliminary results are in and flying colors, and again, thank you, Mr. Bilo, and your staff. Congratulations to Poseidon's Lounge, Three Legged Dog, and J. Lou. All of those are dining establishments in the downtown area that are set to open imminently. Actually, Poseidon's Lounge, they're having a soft opening, invitation only, on Thursday and Friday. I know firsthand, J. Lou, there's a crew of about 7 or 8 inside there working frantically. They passed their kitchen inspection, and they're ready to go. And if you've driven downtown or been downtown at any time, you see tons of trucks and people going in and out of Three Legged Dog. And Three Legged Dog, by the way, is the new business going in the Oddfellows building. And lastly, I'll be quick here. Last Thursday, we all celebrated Juneteenth, but in the Snyder family, we celebrated Sharon-teenth, my mom's 78th birthday. So happy birthday, Mom. With that, Madam President, that concludes my report, unless anyone has any questions.
Thank you. Does anyone in council have any questions for the mayor?
I have a question. J. Lou's is in the Island House, and one of them is in Oddfellows building. And what's the third one?
Third one, Poseidon's Lounge. That's going in Rosie's.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
It'll be seafood and cocktails.
Cool. Okay, thank you. Move on to the auditor's report, Mr. Bilo.
Thank you, Madam President. Council, good evening, and thanks for your kind attention. You received a dated You received a document dated June 20th, 2025, the fiscal officer certificate that pertains to the project outline, the ordinance 1925, the new city hall acquisition and renovation. It's a necessary step provided by bond council and required by Ohio Revised Code for such an action. On to ordinance 1925. I appreciate the finance committee meeting this afternoon and recommending 3-0 that the ordinance be approved. The ordinance would authorize the issuance of notes not to exceed $2.25 million by the end of this calendar year. Those notes would come due in 12 months after. Allows the issuance to be also in a series, not just one. If approved, the first issuance, you phase the issuance to minimize the borrowing cost, would be for the acquisition of the property due at closing costs, and some immediate expenditures needed for the property once it becomes the city's, and some preliminary design costs getting to the RFQ phase that I was discussing with Mr. Trent earlier. Then later, once we would have an estimate, a selected contractor based on their experience and proposed costs, et cetera, there would be a known renovation cost. And that would be the balance of what's authorized here in the note issuance. It would be the two issuance. At that time, the fate of this property, whether it's sold, leased, or otherwise transferred, this has been intended from the beginning to be an offset to the cost of relocating to downtown, to minimize the long-term borrowing costs or long-term costs faced by the city and its taxpayers. So when the ordinance comes up later in the agenda, I'm happy to talk about it now at that time, or to answer any immediate questions now. But thank you for your time, and that concludes my report.
Anyone on council have a question for Mr. Beal at this time? You're more than welcome to ask questions, like you said, when we get to the reading of the ordinance. So, okay, treasurer's report. The clerk has those numbers.
The treasury report is as of yesterday, June 23rd, 2025. As of that date, Fed tax that has been brought in is $73,637.29. Watercraft tax, $18,225. And short-term rental registration, $26,900.
Thank you. The law director is not with us. Mr. Colston, Safety Service.
I would like to see you afterwards for the race. I have a
Okay.
map and everything for you. That's pretty much what I
Yep,
want to
I
talk
can almost
about.
stay and speak with you.
Thank you.
Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Colston at this time on council? Okay. We'll move on to committee reports. Finance Committee, Ms. Silvis.
Our Finance Committee did have a meeting tonight discussing ordinance 19-25, and like Mr. Vila said, we did make a motion to have this approved on its way.
Thank you. Environment and Public Works, Mr. Trolley.
Nothing tonight,
Thank you. Safety Services, Ms. Phillips.
Nothing this evening, thank you.
Thank you. Economic and Community Development, Ms. Gilman.
Nothing tonight, Madam President, but nothing tonight, Madam President.
Okay. Okay, thank you. We will move on to correspondence. The only thing under correspondence this evening is the fiscal officer certificate provided by Mr. Velo, the auditor. Does council wish to take any action under the correspondence?
I'm moving for approval.
Thank you.
Motion.
Thank you. Do I have a second? Thank you, Mr. Trolley. Any discussion? Okay, I have a motion by Ms. Phillips, seconded by Mr. Trolley to approve the correspondence as stated. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Motion carries and the correspondence is hereby adopted. Move on to readings of ordinances and resolution. We have nothing under third reading or second reading. We'll move on to first readings. Would the clerk please read by title and summary only, ordinance 19-25.
Ordinance number 19-25, an ordinance providing for the issuance and sale of notes in one or more series in the maximum aggregate principal amount $2,250,000 and intent anticipation of the issuance of bonds for the purpose of paying costs of acquiring, reconstructing, renovating, constructing, equipping, furnishing, and otherwise improving certain facilities for use as a city hall and other purposes, together with all necessary appurtenances thereto, and declaring an emergency.
Thank you. This council wish, this council wish to take any action as to ordinance 19-25 this evening. Seeing none, ordinance 19-25 will be moved to its second reading at the special meeting on June 26, 2025 at 6:15 here in Portland City Council chambers. We'll move on to business from the floor. As I explained earlier, and you received an email copy and also a printed out copy of the City of Port Clinton's public records policy. Does council wish to take any action as to the new public records policy?
Madam President,
Yes.
I move to approve provision 4, section F with the new fees for recording videos.
Yes, thank you, Mr. King. Any discussion? I have a motion by Mrs. Gillen, second by Mrs. King, to approve under provision 4, section F with the new fees. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Jerry Trolley.
Yes.
Margaret Phillips.
Yes.
Richard Morgan.
Yes.
Avery Robinson.
Yes.
Pat Hovis.
Yes.
Beth Gilman.
Yes.
Kathy King.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carried by a vote of 7-0. Does council wish to take any further action as to the public records policy?
Madam President, I move we approve the City of Port Clinton public records request policy.
Thank you, Dorsey. Thank you, Mrs. King. Any discussion? Okay, I have a motion by Mrs. Gilman, seconded by Mrs. King, to approve the new City of Port Clinton public records policy. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Richard Morgan.
Yes.
Beth Gilman.
Yes.
Margaret Phillips.
Yes.
Pat Hovis.
Yes.
Jerry Trolley.
Yes.
Kathy King.
Yes.
Avery Robinson.
Thank you. Motion carries by a vote of 7-0. The new public records policy is hereby adopted. Move on to further business from the floor. Mr. Morgan.
I have nothing today.
Thank you. Mr. Robinson. Ms. Phillips.
Thank you, Madam President. I did have someone contact me and wanted some information. I passed on the request to Mr. Holston because no way I could have answered when I put it up. And then the second thing is, people are asking, when will the weeds on Perry Street to the right of the lighthouse and following be cut again? I know we've had a ton of water, but when will it?
Where are you talking about?
The
Wetlands.
area,
Wetlands.
the wetlands by the water itself.
We have a maintenance agreement with Fish and Wildlife. We have a maintenance agreement with Fish and Wildlife. So I don't know if they've been up here yet to adhere to it. They did come up and spray for all the invasive species, so that has been done.
Oh, good, that's probably. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Elvis.
Nothing tonight, Madam President.
Mr. Trolley.
Yes. A couple of things. Do we have any news, good or bad or otherwise, on Flip? Anything, any movement on that Flip project?
We got $600,000 for a sidewalk installation, a grant 2-3 weeks ago. We had a meeting this morning with our regular progress meeting, and the plans for the below ground stuff are still being reviewed by the various funding sources. We anticipate to be going out for bids as we have for quite some time now in the fourth quarter of this year. The Plan A above ground, phase 1 is complete. They're on the punch list. About a third of the streets in the city of Port Clinton have been resurfaced. The bid has been accepted for the revetment along Lakeshore Drive. That's being directed by ODOT, or led by ODOT. Construction is slated to start just after Labor Day weekend. I can't remember who the company was that got the bid.
Haynes out of Bellevue, I believe.
Little Bird just told me it was Haynes out of Bellevue. So things are moving forward.
Good. Okay. That leads right into my next request, more than a question. All 7 of us, 8 of us sitting up here, I know we're all getting questions about what's going on. We know, they don't know. Is there any way that administration could write a newsletter and get it mailed out to each and every person in town? I mean, they're not getting any information. Yeah, it's on the interweb. How many people watch that?
I write an article every couple weeks in the
I
Beacon.
understand that, Mike, but,
Yeah.
I mean, Mr. Mayor,
Mike,
excuse me.
we know each other. We know each other, Jerry.
We need it black and white.
Okay.
Something that somebody can look at this, oh, this is why this project isn't happening now.
How often should that be mailed out, sir?
No,
Because
just, we haven't given any information out. Just once,
things
just
change on a
tell
daily
them what's-
basis.
I understand
Okay.
that. To this date today.
Mr. Trolley?
Let them know what's going on.
Thanks for your time. Completely agree with you. The city website is being done, it will be a modern website with great functionality that will have, among other things, this page focused solely on the infrastructure project. They can talk about work that's done, because I think a lot of folks, unless you maybe live on a street or it's your commute to work or to the grocery store, you don't realize that the number of streets that have been completed is, how many stretches?
30 plus.
30 to date as part of the phase one part. So more to come, and I think we'll aim to have an online source that's the city's statement on here's what's done, here's what we know folks can anticipate next.
And I appreciate that, and I understand that, and it's gonna work great. But my 82-year-old father-in-law doesn't have the internet, doesn't go online and look at our website. Yeah, of course, I give him all the information, but let's say he's not my father-in-law, neighbor down the street. What about those folks? I really think we need to have something mailed out. I really do. That's just my opinion.
Is it something we can put on the water bills? You know, because we
How
have
many
that.
people read that bottom of the water bill? It's just a
Oh,
black and
yeah,
white, just a black and white piece of paper that says, this project is happening, we're good here, or, that's all, Madam President, thank you.
Mr. Trolley. Mrs. King, anything?
We have an update on the Arts Garage, our annual fundraiser, which is gonna be September 20th. The theme is Draws, 50 years of blockbuster movies. And we're currently accepting applications for artists who wanna participate in the live auction, and hope everybody can attend.
Okay. Mrs. Gilman.
Thank you, Madam President. To Jerry's point, and thank you, Mrs. Neathall, for coming in and expressing your opinions so passionately. Council is always open to the public. Committee meetings are always open to the public. And you saw the process tonight, and I'm sorry Blake didn't get to speak. The process is, you sign up for public comment before we talk about anything, and you see when an ordinance comes up, there's nothing to talk about typically. A lot of that work is done in committee ahead of time, and we did have a committee before this. Not that council members can speak for administration as to the why or answer those questions, but maybe we can direct you to who can, or you can get a lot of questions answered. You had a lot of misinformation in your comments, and I can see how that can lead to anger. And I hear the frustrations, and a lot of times it can be not cured with communication, but addressed with communication. And we have expressed administration, and they are trying to do something so that we have a better means of communicating with the public. We saw with this water break from a county level, how frustrating that boil alert was in getting out to everybody. That's a communication breakdown. How does everybody know something so important so quickly? And we've struggled with that for years. As a council member, I've struggled with that. Every agency in the county, whether they're having a barbecue or anything, struggles with communication. But I hope you know, and I don't like to be yelled at, but I like to hear the frustrations, because then we can address it and, acknowledge that, the courthouse is not moving, it's a city building. And they can talk to some of those things that people are angry about. The ordinance is not gonna cost, it's not a new tax, it's not gonna cost more money, it's not gonna be added onto your water or sewer, because we can't take funds from water or sewer to fund a move. And that'll be addressed when the legislation comes up. But some of that communication, again, is done in committee meetings, and council, you're always welcome to speak publicly, and I hope more people do participate. It was great to see a room full today. Normally we have maybe one person in here, and that's Larry, who's on our tree commission, and he doesn't say a whole lot. So I appreciate having people come and speak their mind, and not just on Facebook, but we are all accessible. Our information's on the website. You've got a council member for your ward and 3 other council members that are willing to hear you. We may not be able to solve every concern you have or frustration, Because let me tell you, I mean, we're all frustrated with stuff. Administration is frustrated with funding cuts. It happens to all of us, but at least we can have a chance to address it, and I do appreciate you coming, so nothing else, Madam President.
Mrs. Goen, can I just add
Yeah,
a couple
Mr.
comments?
Yeah.
On the why question, maybe wasn't hit earlier. In economic development, generally, it's accepted that vibrant downtowns tends to be a good thing for a community. It doesn't always have to be the city, but there's evidence to suggest that in government offices, full-time professional office jobs increase full-time foot traffic, and I think most of council would agree that having more professional businesses open the 8 to 5, 9 to 5 downtown helps develop a better mix, a really good mix of use of that space. So there's the evening entertainment, dining, fun, and all that fun stuff during the day. There can be obviously fun, but there aren't vacant buildings. There aren't unused second and third floors of buildings. I think this project by the city is strategic because it promotes that. There's evidence to suggest, not just Sandusky, but generally it's accepted by practitioners that you want professional full-time jobs downtown. So that it's not just an entertainment district, it's fully formed, 365, maybe not 24/7, but it has a good mix of folks all the time. And that drives, hopefully, and should increase the tax base for the city because there are more folks paying taxes, income taxes, which we all do,